And there we go. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? You Linux loving miscreants. Middle of the week. Got plenty of stuff to talk about. Kind of exciting things. You know, I'm a little excited because we might get some browser competition. We definitely got a new keyboard to talk about on Android. I know, right? The second one in like 3 weeks, but hey, it's worth it. And Canonical's doing something with containers. Stay tuned for that. And of course, a little bit of a slice of pie with the e-ink flavor attached to it. Sounds fun. We're going to get into it. All right, let me get that together, and boom. I got to remember which one of these faders does what. Because I don't label stuff. I'm that person. I can have a bunch of buttons and everything everywhere, and I'm not going to make notes. I'm going to learn it spatially. Like all of these switches. In the background, what do we got? 16 flip switches on the power rack back here. Every single one of them's hooked up. No labels. That's not how we do things. All right. Got to talk about that FUTO keyboard. FUTO. Gotta do it. I've been using it the past couple of days, and like I said, I talked about the Helios keyboard a couple of weeks back. So I got my thoughts, I got my opinions, and I am relatively qualified to talk about the licensing. And you know, I got 30 years active in the Linux community, so I'll give you my trifity.
There you go, then.
The How's everybody doing?
Hi, Strider. Oh, I like the kitty cat.
Do we get anything fun going on? I didn't see anything crazy on the internet this morning when I popped my head in. I was, last night I did get a chance to completely just immediately go into gaming. Nexus mod, if you're familiar with Nexus mods, that's how you get your mods in your games. Very popular. You know, it's popular enough to where it's garnered internet hate. You know, people are too cool to use it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like it. I'm like, that's dope. That's cool. We can still hang out. They've released an app image with a Linux client. It's an alpha. You can set it up. You can download it. And you download it, chmod it, boom, fire it up, log in, and realize that, like, I have a Nexus Mods account. Huh. Interesting, which I had no idea. I don't even know why I had it. I had it for some reason. Maybe it was like Skyrim mods a billion years ago. I was like looking at that and seeing like what it would take to get Skyrim mods running on, and I'm sure I bounced off of it. It was something like that. I'm like, nope, too much work. Don't care enough. So yeah, that's really interesting because we have R2 Modman, which we use when we play Lethal Company. Every now and then, because we got a bunch of Lethal Company mods, and that is like frighteningly seamless considering, you know, it's doing, because it's got a native Linux client, it downloads the mods and it works with Proton through Steam. Like, you just click a button, it just works. It's one of those things. It's like, good on you, little buddy. It's definitely a fun time. Hello, Arthurian. How you doing?
Yay, Arthurian. Hello.
I think I posted in Discord
Doggo.
a little bit earlier today. I saw a thing just like going through my news feed, and it's like, oh, a dude's been arrested for carrying a Zelda Master Sword, right? In public. And I'm like, I mean, probably, right? Walking around with a sword on the street, something's gonna happen to you. You probably don't want to be spotted because people are not going to know that that's a Zelda sword, and it's a prop. It's going to look like it's a big old honking sword. And I get back to the house today, and I was like, let me see exactly what this guy did. And I look at it. It turned out it was like a little 6-inch fidget sword. Dude's going to get 4 months in prison. That's wild, man.
Yeah. Oh, Fraps Killer. Yeah, we don't have your
Prime sub didn't want
but
what?
It sometimes takes a second for it to activate. That I have noticed.
4 months for a mini sword. That's right. Yeah, it'll pop up on the activity feed if it goes through up here in the right hand corner.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it. Like it does, doesn't. Life will go on. Like and subscribe, or whatever.
Smash that bell, fam. I like that. Arthur said that.
You have an icon by your name? Where? Think about the chair? Raining chairs 1K? I don't even know what that means. I started to look into... Actually, Scott, you were the origin story for that a couple of days ago. I was digging around in like the Twitch settings. I'd never play around with the Twitch settings. I just got like whatever. You know, we were talking about that and like, oh, we're almost to our sub goal. And I'm like, we have a sub goal? There's like default avatars or like badges I can set. I don't know. What would you guys want as a badge? Subs get a star. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So I mouse over that. It says 16 months sub for Scott, and it says Raining Chairs 1K. If I mouse over, Fraps Killer says 2 months sub with Prime Gaming. So yeah, I think it's good. Everything looks good. Looks fair. All right. We got about 4 minutes before go time.
Okay. Let me go.
Locked and loaded.
Take a quick break, and I will be back.
And do that. Do that. Let's get on the right show notes. How about we do that, everybody? Yeah. Oh. I gotta finish writing my story. I finished editing that video. If you saw the card that I posted, that sound card with a big ginormous heatsink, one thing I still need to do, and I haven't got a chance to do it, and I know I have to do it, or I'm gonna get skewered, is take that heatsink off and find out what's under it, right? Because how often do you see a sound card with a heatsink that's like the full size of the sound card? I'm pretty sure it's just some op amps under it. That's what it's going to be. Those get a little toasty. I don't know if they get toasty enough to justify the heatsink. Part of me wants to believe it's like an aesthetic thing, but it's like industrial broadcast hardware, so it's there for a reason more likely than not. Yeah. I gotta shoot that. I gotta finish writing out the bits, but the video's done, which is nice. I'm glad to have that out. And I'm still looking for stuff to buy. Is this Steam Summer Sale still on? I know I was getting notifications like late. You know what? I can buy the entire summer sale, everybody. Look at this. I don't even know what this is. It's the bundle. Summer sale. I want to buy that and write him a nasty note. And say, hey man, I didn't get every single game in the summer sale. What's up with this? I want a refund. Think I can get away with it? I haven't found anything. And I've been looking, man. I've been looking. Oh, I have no idea, man. None. Every game that I have my eye on, it's just that, 20, 40. I don't even think anything I was jonesing for was even 50% off. Like, you don't get me to buy it at 50% off. I talked about that last week, that I thought it was a really good idea that Valve has, like, the deep discount page. The 90% off type stuff or 80% off type stuff. Because that's going to get me to buy it. If I really want a game, I'll just buy it. No sale or no sale. But if it's something I'm thinking about buying, that 90% stuff gets you extra money where I otherwise wouldn't spend it. Why? Because it's like, $1, $2, $3, $5. You don't think about spending that money, man. That's an impulse buy. You're like, you know what? I might not even play that game. You just pick it up. Done with it. You put it in the pile of, I think I have 179 games I've never played in my Steam library. And it's been a while. People used to be able to do that. Steam was small enough before it opened up to everybody. Because there was a time you kind of had to, know somebody to get your game on Steam and, guaranteed money. And Steam was like, oh, if a game's on Steam, it's going to be good. Those days are gone. But it was easy enough to do napkin maths and figure out, what would it cost to buy all the games on Steam. Can't do that anymore. That's unfortunate. Over. Oh, yeah, right. Here we go. I always feel like the monetary symbol should be at the end of a price, not at the beginning. I don't know why. My brain's always had an issue with that. Not like an issue with it. My brain's a little perturbed by that. You know, you have like your dollar, pound, euro sign, followed by that. And like, give me a little bit of mystery, man. I want to know, you know, imagine what these numbers are until I get to the end. Then tell me it's money. Hey, look at that. The bot kicked in. All right. We go. Go. And, oh, right. Ooh, can I pull that up? Do I have time to pull that up? Let me see. To the forums. Eventually. All right. I do want to talk about that. That cheap, you see that little popped up in the window, that little cheap USB, that's one of those like $15 fake USB 3 HDMI capture devices. I think it's given up the ghost. I think it might be.
Mm.
Yeah, on Steam used to be like you had to fight to get your game on Steam. Like, had to know somebody, you had to have an incredibly good game, a really popular game, and like Valve would reach out or you reached out, and like you guys, you know, you'd hang out, go over and play some Sonic or something like that and have a discussion, and then you'd get your game on Steam, and it would be one of those beautiful things. But now, you know, what it opened up with Greenlight, right?
Yeah.
Greenlight launched and people could vote on it. I kind of thought that was a good system, even though it got gamed pretty hard. So I understand why they didn't stick with it. Then we got early access, and now to get your game on Steam, you just write them a check for $100 and you're good to go. That's all it requires. You know, make sure you tick all their boxes for like getting your game on Steam, and like they'll just wave you in. You're like, come on. Which I understand where like Steam wants to do that because, you know, it democratizes, like everybody can get it, but now we have to just sort through, you know, shovelware and junk, but also, hey, this is my first game project on Steam. And I'm like, you probably don't want to do that. Probably don't want to do that. You know, wait until you get it developed a little bit further.
Yeah, follow Stan. Yeah, I actually loved Project Greenlight. That was really fun going through the games and voting and doing all that. I enjoyed it.
Hello, Turbo. I see that you've made it with your duck.
Aww. Hi, Turbo.
All right, let me go to a bio break. We're going to top this off. Is it, how hot's it going to get? 32. Man, we were having, I was having overheating. Not me personally, the equipment. I'm tougher than the equipment in here on Saturday. Things just got so hot, they were getting squirrely. Hardware issues, man. I was like, ooh. I do not keep a thermometer in this room because I know on Saturdays, it's got to be like 35, 36 degrees easy. And then when we started the show, it was still like, it's 31 degrees outside. At 7:30 p.m. It was ridiculous.
Oh, boy.
I knew it was going to be rough. I knew it was going to be tough. I can sit through it. He doesn't bother me. But yeah, like right as we were starting to do the show, things were getting a little squirrely. And I'm not 100% on exactly what was overheating. I think it was something on Jackbox, and my suspicion was the fiber card. My suspicion. That's my theory. So hopefully that's taken care of. We'll find out. This is like a little test run. That's why this show's around. This is by like, let's shake things down. All right. I'll be back in just a second, everybody, and we will get underway.
Okay. Aw, that's cute, legally blind. Cute little penguin with a bear hat. Panda bear hat. That's cute. Actually, let me see it. Fine. Hang. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I'm looking at other panda penguins as animated GIFs. They're very cute. Here's another one. I like that one too. Yeah, I'd never seen that character, Arthur, and now. Oh, hi, Boo. Hi, Steve husband. I'm glad you were able to jump in for a little bit. Penguin party. See, that one's really cute too. I like that one. Actually, Turbo, I have that GIF saved because that's one of my favorites. I think you had pasted it a long time ago and I saved it. That's like, hey. I do that when people send me their favorite penguin GIFs. Aw, Arthur, and yeah, good, just busy. I've been very busy with work and then just a lot of things going on, just summer stuff. I have a wedding next week to go to, which will be fun. Of course, after Wednesday, it's like next Thursday and then Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be a 2-day wedding. So that's going to be cool. Oh yeah, so here in the US, it's the 4th of July holiday tomorrow. So that's nice. I'm happy my husband will mostly be off. Oh, a lot of work stuff, Arthur. Yeah. Oh boy. Aw. Yeah, Steve still has to work at least one full day for the holidays, but at least he gets a few days off. Oh, and Mir, yeah, I saw the penguin at one of the local Japanese markets. Cool that you took a picture of. Or got a picture of. But yeah, I have seen that penguin before, and I do need to get it. It's even on my Temu list, wish list. Oh, Spy Family. Let's see. Did I ever... Season 1, Part 2. Okay. I mean, I know I've seen bits and pieces of that episode, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing. I need to watch the whole thing. We have one of the movies on DVD. Or the first season. Let's see.
One of the things I got going on over here, man, I noticed, what is it? Like the 2017 edition of the Amazon tablet. They were like $99. I bought one, see what it tasted like, right? And that's what I use here in the studio. On the desk, it's like a little Discord thing. It controls the lighting. And it's just sitting there doing the thing. And I noticed the other day, with Discord, I just walk in here and I cut things on, messing around doing something. And I happened to look over at it, and it was like it had somebody's profile pulled up in Discord. I'm like, what's going on here? Phantom touch, bed touch. Oh. I pick it up and I look at it. The battery's getting spicy in it. Yeah, it's got a little bend to it, so it's getting some phantom touches on that. This is a fair warning. If anybody in general chat, in our super secret Discord, of like a message, if I write you back or something gets deleted or something, blame the Amazon tablet. Because I went looking for the battery. The battery, trying to find the right battery for that thing is going to be an adventure. I thought it would be easy, but it's Amazon. They made like 11 models of like that one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to take it apart first, then get the battery model number and swap it out. And then it'll be back to a perfectly functional tablet. Don't throw these things away. I hate e-waste. Yeah, it is spicy.
Yeah, it is spicy.
I still got to throw away I got to dispose properly of the battery from my Nexus 10. Like, it's still sitting in a box in the laundry room. Like, yeah, man. Like, I wish batteries were like easily replaceable. Like, this one's even glued in, but it's not like crazy glued in. You know,
yeah.
I went and looked at some YouTube videos and like, all right, that's doable. I don't have to get the heat gun out or anything. I don't have to be like, please don't explode. No, yeah, good times. All right, we are about underway. Here is your friendly reminder now. Till everybody gets in the habit of it. If you type in Twitch, it will show up on the screen when we're on the two-shot.
Mm-hmm.
If you type in Discord, it won't. So if you want your conversations nice and private, we'll still be able to see it. But if you want it to show up while we're talking, you want to be seen on the show and be like, notice me.
Yeah.
You got to type it into the Twitch chat. Cool. All right. We got the brief light down. I think we do. Man. See, you can't have replaceable batteries because thin and light or something like that. No, why? Because it's cheaper to make them like that. That's why. It costs less money to just glue everything in. You don't have to worry about it. One of the things that impressed me,
feeling so
not
bridgeless,
Google, was
nice.
Samsung, because Samsung made the original Galaxy 10 tab for Google. The thing was, it was thin. Even for, like, now, it's not a thick tablet. But it was heavy, man. I'm like, gee, and it was didn't even have a metal back. It had that, that funky, rubbery plastic
stuff.
The stuff that's going to deteriorate. That's one of the reasons I don't use it anymore. It's still perfectly fine, but it's that sticky stuff, man. It turns into goo. It was always heavy, and I'm like, does this thing get a weight in it? A perceived value weight? Go watch that video I did for the EVGA XR1 Lite. It's a capture card that's hollow with got a block of metal on it to make it feel like it weighs more. And when I replaced the battery, no, good on Samsung. I mean, bad on, like, it was frustrating. That entire thing is screwed together with little micro screws. I had a mountain of screws when I got done with it just to swap out the battery. And I'm like, that's why you weigh so much, little buddy. Okay, I get it. So, yeah. Hey, man, if you're making, 500 million of something, being able to save a penny adds up. That's the math that they use. And plus, if you can easily swap out a battery, you will realize that you don't need to buy a new one every 3 years. I mean, can't have that now, can't we?
Yeah.
Like, we got to upgrade. And you can usually get about 5 years out of any type of mobile device, as long as you buy, not the most bleeding. Same thing with the GPU. You buy a mid-range GPU, you should be able to get 3 to 5 years out of it.
Yeah,
easy.
easily.
And even after that, you could still use it. So, yeah, pop-out batteries. We need those. That's when I was flying in airplanes 7 days a week, man, it felt like it. I had a bag of batteries. Like, they didn't care about batteries, man. You're like, what are these? TSA things? And it was like, laptop batteries, like, whatever. Like, this was before, I guess, Samsung phones started exploding. Either that or they just didn't know what they were. But, we didn't have good storage. This is the mid-aughts. So I was, feeding laptops batteries to watch DVD movies. There was no in-flight entertainment. It was the dark days. All right, get off my lawn.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's get things locked and loaded. Oh, we're going to scroll up. We got a right outro. Hopefully we get any creaking noises out. Because I like to super chill the studio in the summertime before the show. I even cut the window unit. I got the house AC on anyway, and I just get it cold as possible. So if you ever hear a clunk, let's not be dropping anything. That's the floor shifting from getting warmed back up. Good times.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it before.
Oh, yeah, it happens. And the same thing, it's a year-round thing because I don't cut the heat on in here in the wintertime because I'm not in here, right?
Yeah.
So we come in and we start doing a show. What happens? I cut on effectively 5 heaters in the studio, the 5 PCs plus all the monitors. then clunk, 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 it just turns into an oven. And what does wood do? It expands. I got hardwood floors, everything's wood framed, I got brick walls. Old house, people.
Mm-hmm.
Time to hit that big red button. Big red button has been hitted. Now we gotta get on the right page. Hey, that looks like a right page. Here we go. Hey, welcome back, you Linux-loving miscreants. How we doing? Ready for another week of Linux Weekly, Daily Wednesdays? I'm Vin, that's Jill. We got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about. We were just chatting in the pre-show. You can always watch us live over here on Twitch. We're just doing the thing, man, just hanging out. I like to hang out before the show and after the show just to get to know everybody. If you want that, pop into our Discord, however you want to roll with it. But we got to talk about the Ladybird announcement. We got distros, crazy stuff. And of course, the FUTO keyboard. FUTO. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think
plenty
FUTO.
of ways to say it wrong. Yeah. I love a word like that. And of course, for a slice of pie.
Yeah.
Something with a e-ink flavor. Something that it's the TSA acceptance factor razor blade. Like maybe you could get that through. But before we get started, we'd like to catch up, see what's going on since last week. And Jill, you've been single-handedly funding Valve, have you not?
I sure have. I've picked up a lot of games in the Steam Summer Sale that I've been wanting, but I've been working so much I haven't had a chance to play them. So, but I did grab Dream Swing, which is a fun swinging 3D platform that I saw the cinematic from, and that looks like a lot of fun. And Lily's Sky Arc, that was one that Ven and Pedro and Jordan had reviewed quite a while ago. That was intriguing to me, that I've been wanting. And then there's one called Alucinod, 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 which is a really fun-looking MC Escher-like first-person puzzler, and I love games like that. So, but I am looking forward to playing them all over the 4th of July holiday here in the US. So we got a big, nice, long weekend, and I want to play some games.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
One of the things I was talking about, I went looking. We talked a bit about the Steam Summer Sale and some ideas, because Steam has a deep discount page now, Linux Gamecast, if you want to listen to that. I like that idea because I go looking. I go to SteamDB and I'll sort by like 85, 90% off. Why? Because you get older and like if I want a game, I can just buy a game. Let's be real. Like if I see a game and like, oh, I really want that. I'm fortunate enough to be able to just say, hey, I'll pay whatever the, insert current price. I've done that with like God of War, Spider-Man, like the Sony stuff. When Sony was first releasing PC games, I wanted to send them that signal. I'm like, here, keep making these. But I'm patient. Like, that game, even in the summer sale.
Yeah.
20%, 30%, that I don't even look at that. My brain doesn't even process that as a sale anymore because they're always 20, 30, 40%, 45%. 50, I might look at 60, maybe 70. But when you start getting to the 80, 95%, then you get into the impulse buy territory.
Yeah, and that's what these games were for me. They were only like $4 or $5. You know?
$1, $4, $5, even up to like $9.99. Sometimes, maybe on the high end of games that I would just buy, maybe not even play, to be perfectly honest. But I'm like, it falls into the maybe I might play that. Let me just go. It's the just in case category, which is a great place to be. So I'm glad you were able to pick up a lot of stuff, and I hope you find a couple of them that are always entertaining. I'm still on my lookout for the next game that is gonna enthrall
You know what
me.
I kind of do, Ven, is I just go through my wish list because all the games that are on sale, you can sort it by discount.
Jill, I've seen your wish list.
I have hundreds of games on there.
See, this is the first time I think that you've ever lowballed a number. You typically highball, exaggerate numbers. That's the first time I've ever heard you lowball. You have thousands of things on your wish list.
I do, actually.
You don't have hundreds.
Yeah.
Every time, because I will casually, if we're friends on Steam, I'll be like, if I'm playing a game and I was like, oh, this person wants this game, and if that game happens to be on sale, I'm like, yeah, I'll pick it up. And like, I went to look at Jill's wish list years ago, and I'm like, there's no hope here. You just click wish list on everything, man. I'm like, all right, I'm glad that you want everything, but I have no idea what you really, really want. I feel bad. I have like 12, 13 games in my. I was like, that's too many.
Yeah.
Got to dial it down. So let's go ahead and talk about something that I thought was quite interesting. I do a whole project called Interfacing Linux. It is audio video content creation for creatives that just happen to run Linux because nobody else is teaching you a lot how to do it correctly. And I'm probably not helping, but I'm at least trying. Love audio interfaces. And I saw everybody's favorite little animated avatar person. What is it?
Asahi Lina. Yeah.
Yes, that person. They were working on reverse engineering an RME Digiface USB, which is one of the rare devices from RME. Now, it uses ADAT. You see all those little ports there. If you're watching the video version, if you're unfamiliar with that, think like the spit of optical cable like that, but you can send a bunch of them. You can send 8 channels each way through those. And this is one of those rare devices that do not support Linux out of the box. RME's like just not opened it up. They're doing a just complete reverse engineering. And I love this. This makes me so happy.
Nice.
They're working on it. Like currently right now, what did they say? The prototype control app is kind of hacky, direct USB access. They're just digging through it. They fixed implicit sync. Just love to see this. Why? Because I bring this up as a warning to every hardware manufacturer in the sound of my voice, both of you. I don't know. Not releasing Linux drivers for your product is the quickest, most guaranteedest way to get your product reverse engineered. There is a long, proud history of that. So, something to think about. Something to think about. It was just a matter of time before somebody picked this up. And what happens? You're like, I run Linux. This doesn't work on Linux. Those two things align. And you got the person's like, I can make this run on Linux. Oh, sit back, relax, love to see it, makes me happy. But let's get into the news, everybody. Because we got a new browser that we've talked about. I talked about this guy, I think all the way back in 2022. Ladybird had started as a component of Serenity OS. Remember that little hobby project? If you're wondering, if you start looking at the code and you're like, this is a big old ball of C++, that's why. That was a thing at that time. It's since split off to become its own standalone browser. And I liked it way back when, and, way back when, 2 years ago. No default search deals, no crypto tokens, no forms of like user monetization ever. That's a strong selling point, and it is funded entirely by sponsorships and donations from companies and individuals like you at home. So why do we need another option for web browsers? This is a good question. I was thinking about this earlier today. I really was. To put it like really simply in podcast format, how's a good way to explain this? Okay, to put this simply, we need a browser that's not owned by a corporation or almost entirely funded by one. Mozilla, right? Let's think about that. They expect the first alpha for this to launch, quite unfortunately, because I'm impatient, in 2026. But until then, everybody, if you want to mess with a Ladybird browser, you can build it from source. Welcome to Linux. Learn how to do it. It's not that hard. And not just for my Linux brothers and sisters, there's build instructions in the repo for Haiku. So they're serious, so cool. Joe Bryant.
Yeah, they are. And then having, they actually have the ex-CEO and co-founder of GitHub, Chris Wanstrath. He donated $1 million and is on the board of directors. That really shows you how committed they are to bringing a new web browser to the market. This is really huge. And Ladybird recently became independent from Serenity OS. And to me, that also shows their commitment to launching this browser and getting it in users' hands. And they also created a Ladybird Browser Initiative. It's a US 501c3 nonprofit to work on their browser and get sponsors. So lots of movement and action here and lots of funding, which is a really good thing. It's really awesome. Yeah, I remember, Ven, we were talking about before the show. I think you had compiled it to show it off on the show, but we couldn't remember. And I do remember compiling it myself, but I don't remember if it got shown off during the show.
I built it. I think I built it. This is, again, in ancient history all those years ago. And, it was like what you would expect. You're like, well, it kind of loaded a web page. I'm like, that's a start. That's a start.
Yeah.
We got to start somewhere. And people say this, though. They were looking at that a couple of years ago. I remember talking about it a couple of years ago. I'm like, let's see where it goes. Still got a long ways to go, though. And the common complaint, the detractors, the not good enough, the do-nothings on the internet are constantly saying that building a modern web browser with a small, dedicated team of individuals, completely impossible. Can't be done. Can't be done. Don't even waste your time. Why would you be so silly? And I like to remind people about this word impossible.
Yeah.
Because to myself, and I think a lot of people working on the Ladybird project, here's an easy way to frame impossible. Think of it like this. Impossible is just a challenge with just, a couple of extra steps tossed in to make things interesting. That's how you should approach impossible. You shouldn't bounce off of it. Give it a try and find out whether or not it really is. And that's what they're doing. Very much respect that. Also, everyone at the Ladybird Project, I'm going to need you to do something for Old Man Ben. Bring back the blink tag.
Yeah.
Or you're dead to me. Okay? Now, what I'm curious about, do you listening at home have room in your heart, room in your lives for another web browser? Do you? Think about it, or do you even care? Because I'm thinking maybe we're due another Firefox moment.
Yes.
Maybe you weren't around. We were stuck. we had poor little Netscape 4 or 5 or whatever amalgam it had turned into by the time, and we had IE6, and neither were that great of an option. Firefox started up, did the thing. Then Firefox got Firefoxed, and this other little startup, well, they weren't really a startup at the time, but that browser sure was. Chrome showed up, and it started dancing around Firefox. I think we're about at that point where we could use another one of those moments where the new thing shows up and everyone goes, oh no, we got to jump around. Because what I said earlier, what are browsers these days? Chrome, it's just a data hoovering device. I mean, if you're okay making that deal, I still use Chrome, but I use Firefox, I use Vivaldi, I use, I don't think I use Brave, but I definitely have Vivaldi and Chromium. I tend to bounce around. I've already made that Faustian deal with Google way back and a long time ago, man. So, and we've talked about it on this show. Firefox is definitely, we've watched them start sticking that pinky toe into sketchiness. And we're like, just go back to doing the browser, man. Come on, just stick with the browser and do that. So they're going to take this take. They're going to do the wild, brave, ambitious thing, getting that small team together and build a browser. I think it's completely possible, despite any naysaying. But who knows? 2026 will tell us what we need to know. I'm going to go through the documentation. I'm going to go ahead and probably get a build up and running and just play around with it. How about you, Jill? Are you looking forward to, do you have room
Yes,
in
absolutely.
your heart for another browser? I mean, there's also WebKit. I know somebody's going to type in the comments on YouTube, like, you forgot about WebKit. No, I didn't. See, deal with it.
Yeah, and there's GNOME Web, and there's a few other independent browsers out there, but we need a new major player. That is for sure. We have the open source Firefox, and we have the closed source Chromium base, and now we need another option. It's definitely needed because we've got basically Chrome, which is dominating the market, and so they need competition.
I think Chrome is the new standard. I mean, Firefox is a rounding error almost. We've seen sites starting to drop support again for Firefox.
I know.
Like, if you've been on this ride with us for a long, long time, you know, it used to be like when Firefox was new, sites were like, we don't support Firefox. We only support IE6 or IE7 or whatever. And we finally got to the, now we're seeing that drop off again of companies going like, because we got the numbers, you know, despite whatever you might want to say, you look at the numbers, I can look at the numbers. It's pretty easy, even on my sites. But my sites are kind of strange because they're Linux sites. Everybody be proud. We got more Firefox users than anything else.
Yeah. Woohoo!
But statistically, like Firefox has dropped to like 1 or 2%. No, man, let's get everybody, because this is good for everybody. Maybe that'll get Mozilla Foundation like refocused on like, hey, we showed up to the party to bring you a browser. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
And Chrome will go, maybe we should, I don't know. You know what? Google's just going to do whatever Google does. Let's just give that up.
Yeah.
So, and then you get things like, you know, Vivaldi. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not, then you got Brave with the crypto stuff going on in it. Like, just an open source modern browser that is not controlled by just a small team making a great browser. Why is that such a foreign concept? Like, I'm thinking about it, like, why? Why not do it? Do it. Love it. I saw the announcement on YouTube. Dude made a YouTube video. If you need help with like AV production or that under Linux, that's kind of my jam because it was looking a little scuffed. Hit me up. I'd be glad to help for free. One of the things I like to do. Now, Canonical hates, they're tired of this distro thing. Jill, they don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of distros. We're just going to go distroless, and it's going to be naughty.
Oh, actually, this is something major and a major change for Canonical. The makers of Ubuntu Linux, you know, they just made a big announcement with something cool called Everything LTS. Now, Everything LTS is a new initiative where Ubuntu Pro customers get up to 12 years of long-term service for any open source Docker image. These are distroless Docker images, which are custom built and can include upstream software not found in Ubuntu. And there is also support by Canonical to fix critical CVEs within 24 hours. So that's awesome as well. But one of the huge things here about Everything LTS is that this support includes Docker images on RHEL, Ubuntu, VMware, and public cloud K8 instances. It's not just Ubuntu. And yeah, it's actually really game-changing. In fact, Stephen Von Nichols from ZDNet states, with these new open container initiative images, Canonical is embracing the distroless container paradigm in which images contain just enough of the operating system and software to run a specific application. These hardened, minimal containers have a reduced attack surface, making them more secure than conventional Linux VMs or containers. And honestly, Ven, when I first read about this announcement, I couldn't help but think about, you know, all the years me and you and the Linux community and companies have been using small Linux distros on CDs and later USBs for specific needs. And to me, this is the next evolution of that. It's a major thing. Yeah, I was pretty blown away by this. I think that is really cool that they're supporting all these different Docker images.
They want a taste of that Red Hat money.
Yeah.
Everybody does. You know, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about it on the show. Yeah, we did. Susie going to like 19-year support cycles.
Yes, that was last week.
Like all types of crazy things. Like, I wish them the best, man. You know, like keep stuff up like this is outside of my wheelhouse. Like what I hear, like Docker containers, and I was like, I am so glad I pieced out of the industry before that rolled around. Kinda, there's still part of me like, yeah, I probably won't want to play with it. But, you know, there's argument to be made. Like, you know, I gripe and moan about containerized applications, but like running your operating system like or a service in a container makes perfect sense to me, like on paper. So there you go. Good job, Canonical. Hopefully that'll make it easier, you know, to stay compliant with things, you know, if you're running like government whatnots and you got to do this and it's got to be this exact. That's a good way to have that static thing rolling on. Yay. Now, what a lot of you are here for. Hi, you've skipped to this point of the video, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Let's talk about FUTO, Android keyboard. But before we do that, do you even know what Android keyboard you use? Probably not. No idea. Like I used the one that came with the phone. Maybe it's Google keyboard. Maybe it's one that came with Samsung. Maybe it's like whatever. You're like, it's a keyboard, Vin. Why do I care? Let me tell you why you should care. Because if you don't know what keyboard you're running, there's a good chance that everything that you're typing into your keyboard is getting sent off somewhere. You know, would you buy one of these keyboards? See, this is my keyboard. Look at that. And oh, by the way, you see that? That's from cleaning. That's not scuffs. That's where I've cleaned it to the point. Why? Because Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, did not make that detachable. So I have to like spray it down and scrub it. And that's where my hands rest. So like I've scraped the ink, not the ink, but the dye off that. Now, would you buy one of those keyboards if it had an Ethernet jack on the side that just sent your key out? That's a key logger. A lot of these things do that and you don't know about it. You know, Gboard and stuff like that. I think there might be even an option to turn it off. But again, like, what do you care? It's a keyboard. You should care about stuff like this. And a couple of weeks ago, I told everyone about HelioBoard because I ran across it. I've always been on the lookout for something. I like Gboard, even the Edge keyboard. They're good keyboards, but they're chunky and they're data vacuuming devices that I'm just like, oh no, And I don't even type anything sketchy, but I'm like, I don't want to send my stuff to like wherever. So been looking out and I ran into HelioBoard and it's really neat. You know, it's customizable open source keyboard. And what sold me was if you were willing to install the Android library, it worked with glide typing, which is a must for me because I carry around a tablet. I don't carry around a laptop. And I need that because I don't hold a tablet like a mobile phone because that looks ridiculous. And a couple of you hit me back on Discord and YouTube. You're like, hey man, I tried that out. I really liked it. I'm like, yeah, it's like super lightweight and it just works with glide typing. Good times. Big fan. Well, this is the new Challenger though. I'm like, okay, what I got like 2 weeks for that? Then we get this. It's a great time for everybody. The FUTO organization has released, now this is an alpha, FUTO keyboard. I mean, you're not going to get confused. You know, don't waste time with naming. What is it? FUTO keyboard. Done. Like HelioBoard, it's 100% offline, security focused. And it was started by the gentleman behind Yahoo Games. Thank you for mini games of Pool. I played the snot out of that client-side Java application. Yeah, I absolutely did. And so that dude with FUTO, he's funded development for OSS software like GIMP, Asahi, VLC, PeerTube. And this FUTO keyboard, I mean, it's based on AOSP. So for my brothers and sisters, I like custom ROMs. You know that name. You're familiar with it with some extra bits thrown in. Now, this is where people start getting squirrely because it's licensed under the FUTO. Oh man, come on, guys. I'm going to mispronounce this on purpose, but I got to find the one I like. Source First License 1.0. And that has caused some confusion / screeching on the internet. You know, the internet went full internet on this. And, you know, all right, I get it though, because by the letter of the law, you know, it means that the keyboard's not really open source. It's more like source available minus any crazy restrictions. So that you can modify and share source. You can even redistribute it for non-commercial purposes. But if you're a large organization, they got to get paid. I like that. I like that. I'm not against that at all. You know, you can think of the FUTO source license as an alternative to closed source licensing. You know, you buy commercial software, you don't get to take a peek under the hood and make sure it's legit. You can do that with this. I think that's right. Because, you know, immediately when I read that, and I'm like, you guys are trying to redefine open source. They're not. I think they made a video and like, our bad. And I'm like, all right, easy mistake to make. I made that mistake probably like 5 years ago when the Epic game Unreal Engine went open source. I'm like, I went open source. Tsunami hit me of like, no, source available. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I said open source for the, they're like, I'm like, fine. You know what? I'm not arguing semantics on the internet. It's not semantics. It's like, you know what? You even have a point there, but you know what I meant. Calm down. Don't get caught in the weeds on this. So the keyboard's completely free. There is a one-time payment. And right before the show, you just download it. It's an F-Droid. It's on the Play Store. There's a repo for it. Grab it wherever you need it. But if you want to help the funding, we got this. Help keep it running, man. And people got to get paid for their work, which I think is good. A small, dedicated team, and they're not taking your data, not doing anything. I'm like, okay, no subscriptions or anything. I'm going to pay for it. So I click on the button, and I'm like, I don't know what Gray J is, but I'm going to go to the keyboard thing. This is where you drop the ball right here. Listen to my words right here. Cause I don't know how much. I don't know. I want to kick you some coin, but you're asking for an email address before you're going to tell me the price. Y'all need to fix that. You do. Because intended or not, that comes across as sketchy. It does. People are going to bounce off that and have bounced off that hard, full stop, as you like to say. There's that. So give me a price up there before I give you an email address. Then we'll make that exchange, Like we'll go hang out in the back alley and we'll make it happen. I'll be happy to fund, and kick you some coin, as long as it's not like $1 bazillion. I'm not rich. So there it is. I've been using it for 2 days now on I didn't put it on the S6. I put it on my Galaxy S6 Lite tablet.
Oh, okay.
No problems with it. Easy to install. I tried to install it through F-Droid and it didn't want to sync up for whatever reason. I didn't, so it was on Play Store. So I hit Play Store button. It just installed. It's a little chunky, but it's got a lot more in it, because it's got the voice. Jill will tell you about the voice stuff. Than Helia board. It's about 100 megs to download. But no complaints. Glide typing's working. Predictions well enough. It's a good keyboard, and that you can audit the code. That's your selling point right there. What's taking place under the hood.
Yeah.
Or you can just download the APK yourself and install it. You can sideload it, piece of cake. So tell us more about you've. I know it's a keyboard, so you're going to investigate the critical parts of it, like emoji support.
Yes, I will. So I actually love the security of the offline voice input, where no data is collected or stored on the FUTO keyboard. In fact, something really cool, they even have a separate FUTO voice input app that you can download and use, and it works with other keyboards that are compatible. It actually let me know when I launched it that Gboard, which I was using at the time, is not compatible, but because Gboard has its own voice typing system, and that's true for several other keyboards. But it was compatible with one of my other favorite keyboards I use, which is the emoji keyboard. So yes, I do like a good use of emoji, and FUTO has that as well.
I like it. It's good. It's light. I'm not going to tell you. It's easier if you're just looking for like glide typing, emoji support, voice support, and they got their own on-device prediction.
Yeah.
And plenty of options to play around with. So try it out. If you're the type of person who's like, okay, maybe you just learned something. Yeah, the keyboard that's built into whatever device you have is probably sending all your data off somewhere, man. For good or for ill. It just is. And if you don't like that, or, I've, again, knowing full well that the Gboard was doing that, I'm like, but it's so nice once it loads, because it's a chunky, slow load.
It is.
Even on an S6, which is not a low-end tablet by any stretch of the imagination. So this pops right up. Didn't have a problem with it. I didn't try it on anything like budget. I was going to put it on this Amazon Fire tablet here in the studio, but it's got a spicy battery right now. I just don't want to deal with that until I pull it apart and fix it. So yeah, good work, everybody. There'll be a link in the show notes if you're just looking for it. FUTO.org. No, keyboard.futo.org. I like the name. See, it's hard to say, but look, LWDW. You can even say our Linux Weekly. Yeah, right.
Everyone's like, what does that mean?
Right. It actually stands for something. I'm sure FUTO stands for something. I'm going to say it twice no matter what. My brain's like, even though I say it one way, it's like, say it the other way. Just cover your bases. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. EOPod. Speaking of things that we couldn't come up with a way to gracefully say, Jill and I were talking about that in the pre-show. Go back and listen to that if you're a patron. How are we going to pronounce this one, Jill?
Okay, so this is
iPod.
EpiPod. EpiPod. I think it's EpiPod, not EpiPod. I just thought of that. So anyways, this is actually to me the perfect use of an e-ink screen and a Raspberry Pi. A hand-built homebrew iPad clone. And yes, it's called EpiPod. And it's powered by a Raspberry Pi 02W. The EpiPod boasts up to 5 hours of battery life per charge and has an e-paper display that is readable in sunlight. The e-paper screen is an electrophoretic 250 by 122 resolution display, which offers low power draw and, like I said earlier, is fully readable in the sun. But it might not be so easy to read in the dark. So that'll be a thing. Maybe there'll be a future e-paper display with an LCD on the back that you can pop in there. But there's a dedicated 24-bit 12S digital to analog converter through a headphone amplifier for the audio. And you can actually get the PCB from the PCBWay website. And I wasn't able to see the price because I have to create an account and log in to get the prices. And years ago, I had used this site, but I couldn't remember my login credentials. So I need to go through and do that again. But I'm suspecting that it's not too expensive.
It's probably not going to be too bad. Yeah. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show. Like, look at it. See, if you
Isn't it cute?
if you had to take that out of your pocket and put it through the scanner, you could probably get it through the TSA. So I'm going to give this a TSA scale neutral rating. Like, I'm saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. You're like, it's we have iPod at home. They'll be like, okay, fine. I like the idea of e-ink.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's one of those devices where you're going to have to, hey kids, we used to have these things called TV remotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, and we had to change channels. We couldn't do it on our mobile device.
Yeah.
And they didn't have backlights on them, so you had to memorize that remote. Because you couldn't look at the remote all the time. You had to hold the remote like this right here where you weren't thinking about it and like changing channels, muting, doing whatever, and like changing satellites. I could do all the, with big crazy remotes. And you got to keep that in mind when you're dealing with e-ink in the dark, right? Unless you got to break out a light. So you'd have to establish that memory pattern and be like, all right, how do I, click through to get to that thing? You're like, all right, got it done. Yeah, you could probably build something like this for, I don't know. I'd be surprised if it was over £100.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I'm looking at this LiPo battery. It's got that Raspberry Pi was it a 02W or? Yeah, 02W, right on. And a 1200 milliamp LiPo. That looks way too easy to replace. That would make Apple very upset if they saw it.
Yes, absolutely.
You're going to need to glue that in a little bit better before, 4 screws, pop it out, 2 solder points, and you're done with it. I love stuff like this. Love it. You could probably find, it's a 02W. Of course, it runs Doom. Guarantee you.
Yeah, it does. And the developer, his name is Del Hatch. And this was inspired because there's another project like this, a homebrew iPod clone, but it's using a standard LCD. So he wanted a way to have something that was more power efficient and that you could see in the sunlight.
Yeah. Like e-ink is, there is worth playing around with it. Like if you're always in an environment where like you don't need backlights and for the display, like I would love to have an e-ink monitor that was affordable. See what I did there? Because those don't exist.
Affordable. I was just thinking as we were talking about this, Ben, wouldn't it be neat if that e-ink display was glow in the dark? Like the remotes were when we were happy, when the remotes got glow in the dark so we could see them at night.
Maybe if they put like the chemical stuff behind it. I don't know, if you just need around the edges, because you got a light e-ink front light to the best of my understanding. So you'd have to do some bezel trickery. Do it. Somebody play around with it. Go get some glow in the dark goo and rub it all over an e-ink monitor and see what happens. Send me the pictures. I'm not responsible for any damages caused by what I just said, though. But yeah, send me some pictures. That'll be kind of brilliant. There we go. All right, everybody. We did it. Ran a little bit long, but not too bad. Hey, I hope you like the show. If you do like the show, you get some value, some entertainment from it. Kick us some coin. You can support us. We don't have ads. We don't have any data tracking. You can just download the podcast direct from Old Man Vin. Like there's no Podbeam or whatever getting your data bits. It's just straight from my cloud instance. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Come get this show and a couple other things. Like you get the live and uncut version of the show. If you can't make the live and you want that live experience, we give you that in MP3 plus a video on YouTube. I give you a commercial-free version of this show, so it's not even on YouTube. It's something that you can watch right in the browser, download, save wherever you want to do. I make that as a bonus, just as a thank you for helping us out. $1 a week, whatever you got going on, we'd appreciate it. Come hop into our Discord. We're not going to like, hey, you got to come talk to us on our Discord, but we do have a Discord. We got a very eclectic group of people in there, and it's not all hard Linux, and it's a very active Discord. It puts the other Discords to shame. There it is, just we're rocking and rolling all over the place. And it's definitely a good time. I get together on Tuesdays and Fridays. If you're looking to do a little bit of gaming, you need to keep those finger digits. I saw Turbo in chat a little bit earlier. He's one of our patrons.
Yeah.
We do Trackmania too. It's like $9.99. It's probably on sale right now. It's a racing puzzle physics platformer. We get together in Discord. We have a great chat. We even stream it. So, other people can see how cool we are and how good we've gotten. We call ourselves the Filthy Casuals because we're not all that great. It's not about winning. It's about hanging out and building the skills, staying active. So if you've been looking for that group of friends, you used to have that in your 20s, in your teens. You're like, hey, a scheduled thing. We get together on Tuesdays and we get together on Fridays later for people who can't make the Tuesdays. There it is. We got you covered. Friendly people. Love to have you in. All of that's pinned to Trackmanias and in Discord. If you want to get into it, and you can also hop in there with your Twitch sub. Love to see ya. There we go. We got LibrePay, PayPal, and of course the magic internet money and Amazon wish list. If you want to buy something, we're just like, hey, you want to get us a present? That's cool. You know what? You get us a present, we'll read something off. Send in a note. I'll be like, I can't read that. You built the animal, and we'll have to throw it away. It'll be brilliant. Hey, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Let's do the bouncy music, Joe.
Let's do that. Gamatron, thank you for the 31-month resub on Twitch. Yay, actually on Patreon. And thank you to our advisor, Illegally Blind, who's also known as Artherin in chat. And he's the one who helped us with that Ladybird announcement. He posted that in our Discord. And that's how we found out all this good news about Ladybird. So thank you, Artherin. Thank you to our Death Notes, all our different levels, our Chairlings, our Sea Monsters. We have lots of wonderful patrons.
I keep telling you, Jill, sea monsters don't need chairs. They got no legs.
Yeah, yes, they are. Tentacled creatures.
They got flippers.
Yeah.
If you see a sea monster with tentacles, please consult your doctor.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Love you all. I love that bouncy music.
There it is. All right.
Aww.
There we go.
Hi, Steve's very own. Yeah, Steve's very own. So our Twitch and Discord bridge isn't working, which you've probably noticed.
It's off.
So yeah, it's just off right now.
No, it's gone. Don't.
It's
ain't
gone.
coming
It
back.
had issues.
Thank you, Steve _.
Yes.
Yeah, it works out beautifully. It's first Saturday Nemo. Dak took advantage of it. If you want to be popping off with your edgelord hot takes, you could do it on Discord. Don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the almighty banhammer of Vince Stone coming down on you for posting something that's going to cause me problems in a video later. Because I will, and you know I will. Be creative. Say what you want to say, but say it with some flair and some intelligence. They'll be like, "Ree." I don't deal very well with a "ree," as you might know. What do we have going on the rest of the week? I don't know. I know what I got to do. I got to finish writing. I finished the video.
Oh, okay.
for the ASI. And I think the next thing I'm going to do, I've been meaning to do it for a long time. I just got to sit down and do it. So this is a good time to talk about it. We got all these overlays and stuff on the screen, right? You know, we got the boxes and the chats, and we got the flames in the background and all that. So let's say you had all this nonsense up and you're recording with OBS. This is my brothers and sisters out there that do the streaming. And like, let's say I was replaced with gameplay video and Joe was up there with a face cam and had the chat open. And you're like, but you wanted that gameplay video. Now, in OBS, if I just hit record, it's just going to record this. You know, it's gameplay video, so I'd have to like stretch it out and all that. There is a tool which will allow you to stream, record everything here, but also, like, let's say I just wanted to record the gameplay, or I wanted to record Jill, or I just wanted to record chat, or whatever you wanted to record without all the overlay crap on it. While you were doing that too. It exists. It's a little tricky to get set up. I'll show you how to do it though. That's something I like doing.
Cool.
I'll put that over on interfacing the Linuxes. Did anybody play with the Steam recording
Yeah,
beta?
I haven't yet. I've been wanting to, but I haven't
I
had
got a
time,
little
but I am
thread.
soon. I wanted to do it on my Steam Deck. Play with it.
Where I did play with it, and I tested it out for a couple of things. You got some quality settings in here, man. You can do it like Pixel Soup, 1.5 all the way up to 24 megabits. And so I just did like some baseline performance. It did not, hardware acceleration didn't work with NVIDIA at all. So it's kind of brutal if you don't have hardware acceleration, but like anything is, you know, for your NVIDIA encode type stuff. No, it definitely took a performance hit with that. But what got more interesting is I rolled it down. Oh, in the export format, like what do you get? So you get an MP4. It's go to downscale everything to 1080p, and you're going to get AAC audio. Nothing crazy there. But then I remembered I had a 5600G, so I tried a Shadow of the Tomb Raider at it. So like let's see what a baseline is at 720p, because you know it's a 5600G. Got 43 FPS at 720p, whereas the Steam Deck people call it playable. I'm like, all right, so let's try recording. If you don't know, this just gives you a button, a hotkey, and it just starts recording your footage whenever you want it to. So you want that clip, boom, you're done. Not a big hit. 40 FPS, so we lost 3 FERPs on that when we were recording, and that is with hardware encoding disabled. So I cut on the hardware encoding, and it's just a little toggle switch in your Steam menu. It's still 40 FPS. I'm like, well, dang it, it doesn't work on AMD either. So then I crack open HTOP, and I'm looking at HTOP, and I'm like, oh no, it's working. Because we're looking at HTOP, you're looking at system load right there, and I'm like, well, that's not too bad, right? I'm like, yeah, it's looking fine, because that's the GPU, and if you disable the GPU, and it's like, it jumps all the way up to like 50% load on these threads. So yeah, I ended up with a bunch of questions. If anybody gets a chance to play around with your Steam Deck, feel free to pop over there and post your results. I'm curious to collect some data bits on that, man. Now, if you want to use source record with OBS and you got NVIDIA hardware and you want to actually leverage it, you got to do patch drivers, and that hasn't worked for a couple of years because OBS switched from GLX to EGL, which that bit recently got flipped with the 555 NVIDIA drivers released last week. But the plugin developer is still going to have to update that. Why? Because you needed a Quadro to do that. All types of fun stuff. I could bore people for hours with video things. There we go. There is a source record for OBS. Where?
Yeah, I know. Steve's very own. He does a lot of videos on OBS. In fact, that's what he's been focusing on, tricks with OBS.
Yeah. Where's the source record built into OBS? Can't post links. Are you talking about the plugin I was talking about? I'm curious. Are you talking about the OBS source record plugin? That's what I was talking about. Yeah. This guy. All right. I didn't want anybody to get confused there. I won't be like, wait, that has been a sorely missed feature.
Mm.
Now, a couple of things with this plugin that we have to walk people through to get this done right, because this has the potential to scramble your sources and scenes. There'll be more on that, but we'll get a bit, and you can do an in-tree build, which is the fascinating thing. Instead of using it as a plugin, I know a lot of people keep track of my stuff. We like to build OBS from source. Why? Because we like to rip out all the stuff we don't need or add the stuff that we do need that's not enabled by default. And doing our own custom builds, you can do an in-tree build with this guy. So it's not even a plugin. It's just, boom, it's going to be right there. Oh, that is a super cool thing to have. And OBS dev teams are like, no, we won't work with it. Because if you're thinking about it like just like what we're doing, we don't really have a need for it, right? Don't really have a need for it. But if you're doing things like on social media, you do need the gameplay footage. Say you're streaming to your friends with your overlays and your stuff and pop on while you're recording footage for a long form video that you're working on, and you don't want all that crap on. Or you got to break stuff down for, your YouTube shorts or your TikTok videos. Like, I don't use that stuff, but I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist. You don't want to take your little face cam that's been recorded at 1080p and like blow that up and like mess with all that. No, you just want a nice clean shot so you can do multiple, depending if you get a chunky enough system. We're going to play around with it. It'll be a fun time. And who knows, I might finally get around to teaching y'all how to do some really basic audio engineering on top of everything. Gotta get it done. Played around with OBS a little, mainly to stream to Discord. Yeah, that's why stuff like this is, you talk about it and like of a certain age. That's where kids are streaming right now. I'm not calling you kid. I'm saying that like Discord's where people are streaming. They're not streaming to Twitch, not streaming to YouTube. Like they're doing it for their friends and their own little groups and Discord servers. Oh, it's a different world. All right. There we go. We got that together. Nothing overheated. I don't think we had any audio glitches. No, we didn't.
No, I didn't hear anything.
So it was the fiber card. Maybe. I don't want to say definitely because I don't want gremlins to come back. I need a bigger case, everybody. I don't need a bigger case. I got a ginormous case. But I'd like a bigger case. Is there anything... Does too big a case exist? Have you ever seen a PC case and been like, nope, that's just too much? Everyone I've ever seen, no matter how comically large they were, I'm like, I could do something with that. Better airflow in the switch. See, that was my first suspect, man. The fiber switch back here, this guy up top. That little white line that you see. That's what? How many ports? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 port 10 gig fiber switch. Fanless. That, I was thinking maybe the transceiver might be, one of the transceivers was overheating or like, nah. Like that's what I was doing. If you go back and watch the video version of Linux Gamecast, you see me just disappear a couple of times throughout the show. And like I got these little silent-ish USB fans that I can set up in the studio, and I was like aiming that at the heat sink hanging off the back of that thing. Yeah. Threadbooper never gets terribly hot. It gets up to like 60. And like Jill's box is... It's a Ryzen 5600G, man. That thing I can handle up to 90C. It's ridiculous. And I take full advantage of it. I let it run up to like 78, and I'm like, that's great. You just keep going. But I always think about like people who live in more tropical environments. Like that.
Oh boy.
Computing has to be a nightmare. And I'm talking like, subtropical, like where it's 100% like over half a year,
Humidity all the
100%
time.
humidity, right?
Yeah.
It's 30 C when you get up in the morning, and it's just going to get hotter and stickier. Like that's got to be rough, dude. I saw somebody on Reddit. They had in order to get their PC to cut on, they have to take a blow dryer and like hit it to get any moisture out of it. Man, that's too much. That's too wild.
That would be scary.
I still want to build a PC case. That's been on my to-do list for a long time. Way harder than it sounds in theory, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. But Jamaica, I don't think Egypt would be too bad. Unfortunately, that is the one time where you can say, hey, dry heat. And you're like, yeah, right. You just got to deal with heat then. You don't have to deal with heat and like condensation.
Yeah.
No, you see, Scott, that's why you move there, though. You got to take the good with the bad. I mean, the creepy venomous animals are like, hey, that's the reason you should go, but then you got to put up with all the negatives.
Yeah, Pacific Islands. Yeah, definitely Katana.
That's got to be wild, man.
Yeah.
It hasn't. We're going through a bit of a dry spell. Like, what humidity is? What is humidity today? It's only 49%. It's practically a dessert here. 49. It's normally like 85%. Right. Yeah, it never really freezes here. It freezes for like 3 or 4 days a year. I'm good about it. Am I going to build? No, I'm not. I'm going to build it to 12-year-old me with a crayon standards. Don't do what I want. I'm an adult.
Yeah, Chakrisny will see if Ven will build it to AT standards. You can use one of my old cases.
I could. Oh, dude, I definitely have ATK. I have I don't even know what's in them, man. Like, I don't know where to take them. They're some like old school 8086s. I have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Somebody had given them to me to like. You're like, can you do anything with these? I'm like, no, and they never came back to get them. So I'm stuck with them, and they're not towers. They're like the old big chunky ones with like 5 1/4.
Yeah, desktop. Yeah.
I guarantee you both those. I guarantee you both of them probably still boot. Over-engineered hardware back in the day, man.
Oh yeah.
77. Yeah, living on an island to do that, man. Been there. Like, genuinely have been there. I could go ad-free. Yeah, that's cool. No. What keyboard? Do you still get your pink keyboard? Have you plugged it in yet? Or are you still in the, I'm just going to have it out looking at it? Joe?
Oh, well, I've got a pink keyboard right now.
The one you showed
The one
last
from
week?
last week?
Yeah.
That's in another room.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it plugged in anything? You just got it in a room by itself. You walk in, you're like, hey, how you doing?
Oh, no. I actually use it. Whenever I get new keyboards, I use them for a while and see how much I like it. And I know I have quite the keyboard collection. So, but yeah, that it's been a good keyboard. I like it. It's quiet, which is nice. And it's not RGB, which is really cool. And it's a beautiful, the beautiful kind of crystal pink.
Gotta have a spare room. Yeah, Katana, it's easy. There's a life hack. Don't have kids. You get spare rooms. That's how that works out. I mean, I guess you could most certainly have spare rooms and children too. Like, I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah.
What else are we got going on? I'm still trying to figure out a way to stream on Sundays. I've got to build basically another Jackbox, but I don't want to like spend the money right now and do that.
Oh.
You have a 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah, but it's not, dude. I am so the one thing that I'll watch and I can help myself is like a tiny home video. Like, I want to live in a tiny home. I'm an efficiency nut. when I see all that stuff and it's folded up and it's like, oh, that does that, and that. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool, man. I don't think I'd like it, but what I'm saying is I like the idea of a tiny home or like a houseboat, things like that, you know, that are campers, like caravanning. I'm not into that. Like,
I could live in a tiny home. I would just have to have a rent somewhere so I can keep my stuff. But growing up, I grew up in a 720-foot square house with 4 people.
yeah.
So that's a tiny home.
In America, that's a tiny home.
Yeah, it is.
It's a palace in a lot of places, like 700 square foot. What did you do with all that room? But if you got a bunch of people in there,
yeah, that's an issue.
even like apartments, like a studio apartment. I wanted a loft. I still kick myself. When I first came to Athens, there was one of those corner buildings downtown. You know, the ones that they're kind of like too narrow. You know the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like and the very top,
long and narrow,
was lofted and it was for sale. But at the time, I think it was, hurts to say, $250,000, $250,000, which was a ludicrous amount of money to pay for a loft apartment at the time. Like $250,000 could have got you, 4 or 5 bedroom house, no problem. I don't even want to know what it's worth these days, but like I'd love like a loft or something like that. And that's like downtown's close, and I don't want to live like downtown. I mean, I grew up in a city. I don't want to live in the city again. It's convenient, but I just don't like the noise.
Yeah, same here. Live in the suburbs.
Living in your room mostly? Yeah, I gotta get out of the house, so like I gotta get out of the house every day. I'm not somebody that, when I talk about, I one of the reasons I carry around a tablet is because I'm out and about, I'm dealing with like 3 nonprofits, like whatever else I got going on in life, friends and family, well, not really family here, but friends, and just, I'm not home a lot. I'm home on Wednesdays. I'm home in the afternoon on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I get home on Saturdays, usually before like 3, something like that. And Sunday, I'm home all day. Don't mess with me on Sundays. Sunday's editing all day long.
Yeah, Katana. So actually, I don't have a spare bedroom. where that keyboard is actually, the hallway is where I do my work, and the and it has my workbench and everything, but it's an ultra wide hallway, so it's like a little room, honestly. It's right next to here. It's right there. And that's because one bedroom, is our master, and the other is full of Steve stuff. So we just have too many hobbies and crap.
I always entertain the idea of just getting rid of everything. All of it. Every bit of it. Just like grab my wallet and keys and hop in the car and just go.
Yeah, no, that's not a life of an artist. We have things.
As an artist, for the inspiration, change of scenery. It's not a life for hoarders.
Yeah. No, artists, and as Steve can tell you, require things. We require things to look out for inspiration. It's a thing. Like when you're in the art industry, artists require that. So you can ask Steve about that, who builds models and makes art. You have to have visual things for, hands-on for.
Yeah, like you need to get out, change the scenery, go rent a studio.
Yeah,
awesome. Plenty of things. Yeah, I definitely think about stuff like that. Change the scenery.
Yeah.
This is the longest I've lived anywhere.
Oh, okay.
But when you're stuck with property, which it's nothing to complain about, but do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, do you ever just think about lighting it all on fire and walking away? I know you do.
No.
You designed a studio in Golden Gate Park? Right on. What is that, like a little fastback? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely of the 70s era of styling. What type of studio did you design in Golden Gate Park?
Yeah.
Drummer. A yoga studio. All right.
Yeah, nice. Nice drummer. Yeah, good to see you, drummer.
Throw some mats in the grass and like, there you go,
Yeah.
pay me. Yeah, they tried to make the shooting brake design. Everybody's tried that. And my buddy, he has a Mercedes collection. No. When I first met him, I thought he was just, because he had two old Mercs, those old 70 tank Mercs. And I'm like, oh, those are cool. Maybe it's just like, whatever, fix them up. Then he bought a new one. He bought the hatchback version. I'm like, you got a disease, dude. Like, I don't even know how much money he spent on that car. He's just like, so, like, okay. The only thing, hatchback, I mean, my 944s and my 951 had a hatchback, but they weren't using, like, you couldn't do anything. You had like that much clearance in the back. You couldn't put anything in the back. I don't know why they were there. They were there to get to the spare tire under the little piece of cardboard with carpet over it. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Athens is pretty dope. I'm up in Atlanta every weekend. It's college town. Athens is like its own little place. It's like 90s Seattle that never sold out, even though it's starting to sell out now finally, a little bit. But it is, if you're into music and a bunch of other stuff that I'm into, great place. Great place. Love it. All right. Yes, you do, Mary. You do have one of those old tank Mercs. You have one of the newer old tank Mercs, but that's still, I'd still classify yours as one of the old tank Mercs.
Yeah, he does.
Now, Athens is the Athens of Athens, dude. And home of REM, dude. B-52 is Widespread Panic. Yeah, it's definitely, it's an interesting situation with the way the downtown's organized with all of the bars, like the 100 bars and like 60 of them every night have live music. It's great when you like doing audio engineering, live music, stuff like that, like I do. It's a lovely place. Like I said, for those of you who get out of the house. If you're not about that outside life, probably wouldn't dig it too much, because like, and you're going to need a car because public transportation in Athens is like, I think their bus system closes at 9, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, some old REM Stand. I don't know if that was off their first album or not. I'm not a huge fan of REM or really the B-52s. What was, gallery. See, I really wish one of the things I'm looking for, I was talking to Jordan about that. I want to get into woodworking, but woodworking is a colossal upfront expense for the tooling for it. Even like a serviceable used lathe is very expensive plus all the bits. And I wish there was like a studio in the area that, you know,
But you can go
would
in.
let you come in and like rent the tools and use it while you were there. Doesn't exist, at least not one that I could find. And like, I don't know any. I know some cabinet makers and stuff like that, because I'm that guy. If I'm driving by and some people are working on something, I'm gonna stop and I'm like, hey, can I help you out for free? That's how you learn stuff. They usually say no, but sometimes they say yes. That's how I know how to run CNC machines. All right, everybody. I'm going to go transmogrify some data bits and sling them together, smash them up, convert them into MP3, then upload them to YouTube, and that'll get relayed over to the libraries, and I will smash together a downloadable version with no bonus ads in them or anything, and put that up for our patrons. And I'll catch all you guys. That's where we're at the other 6 days of the week. We don't plug our Discord enough, but like, that's where I'm at chatting. Long there by Ox. Oh, have fun. Try to get into something the rest of the week. Got plenty going on, and Saturday is already shaping up to be a big chunky show. Last week was kind of light, really, but
It was, yeah. I was surprised.
a couple of things we got going on is we got Valve's finally doing something about Team Fortress 2 bots, like finally, but they are doing it brutally, so it's kind of interesting. There's a rumored fighting game, like that type of fighting, punchy kick fight, coming from Valve. Nexus mods, the alpha's out. I'm gonna tell you about that. Pedro's gonna tell you about that too, because Pedro's got a lot of mods. I'm just like, hey, I gotta run. Updates to the Dolphin emulator. They've completely changed their development cycle.
Cool. Yeah.
And bad news for gaming subscriptions, but I'll tell you more about that. Saturday, back here live on Twitch, 7:30 pre super shows and for patrons, and 8:30 everybody else will hit that stream button, and we'll see you for that rock block tomorrow. Jordan's gonna be back. I think he's playing Outer Worlds. I think he does 7:30 p.m. right here, same channel, same bat channel, same horse time, however you want to rock and roll with it. Remember, go play around with the FUTO keyboard.
Yeah, the
See if you like it. Drop some comments on the video if you do. Whatever you think about it, hit me up in Discord. And like, I'm curious because like, I think most people just don't care what keyboard it is. So like, it's keyboard type, don't care. And like, that's probably not the healthy way to think about it. You know, we need to spread keyboard awareness. And maybe try to build Ladybird. That's going to be, that's my, if I squeeze out some free time before the end of the week, I'm going to give that a build. All right. Bye, everybody. Or as they say, toodles.
Everyone, love you all.
I gotta get in the right shot so we can fade to the right shot. Watch. Boop. There we go.
There we go. Radiant LWW.